course, I couldn't do it without each and every one of you. So there are a lot of humbling experiences. But people keep me going. The fans keep me going, supporters keep me going, and it's just all a blessing. Surreal. Very, very often. And down the street from where I grew up was an office called University Music Entertainment, an independent label founded by Hawk Islam, Lita Rosario, and fresh out of high school, I signed an independent label deal with them. There was artist development. They resembled somewhat of a Motown. He was our Berry Gordy, and when I say our, I mean Pure Soul, the all-girl gospel group, Drew Hill out of Baltimore. So those were my label mates. And then he went on to sign Terry Dexter out of Detroit, Elsie Muniz out of Miami. But I was his third artist, solo. And we met through my dad. My dad is a musician. He sings and he still tours to this day. And he was looking for a female soloist, and he came to my living room to audition me after school, high school one day, and asked me to sing a cappella, so I did. And he heard a demo in his office via my father. And we started working together in my last year of high school. I went to Maryland University College Park on a train back and forth to Philly, cutting my first demos that ended up on that first album. But Drew Hill was very, very instrumental in that first album with Daryl Pearson, who's from Baltimore. And I got together with Daryl and Cisco first here on the East Coast. And then we hiked it down to Atlanta to finish the album with the entire Drew Hill. But we were label mates, so that is how the actual collaboration, in-house collaboration, came about. It was very much a family environment. You never know where life takes you. And the funny thing is that I've been performing since I was about 3 in all kinds of different places, through majorettes, through gymnastics, all kinds of dance, and specifically tap dancing, hoofing. In my dream, when I came to New York City for the first time, I was 10 years old. I tap danced in the Macy's Day Parade. right.
Humble flex.
With a bunch of other dancers, of course.
Wow.
But my mother, she took me to see Jelly's Last Jam. The movie Tap had just come out. Savion Glover was a big influence for me, and that's when my direction in tap dance changed. But I was a performer since I was a little kid. And all I wanted to do was Broadway when I watched Gregory Hines. And that was just a big goal for me. I was gonna do the college thing first and study theater, the arts, etc. But it just so happened that the record deal happened first. And Broadway is always there. And I plan to do that as well. So I was very bold, very confident, very, I would say, ready. Because of the experience that the arts and all the teachers that made us get it right had instilled in us. But it can also be very intimidating because it's not the traditional route of life, especially as a college girl from Maryland, by the way, you know? So you wonder if you're making the right decision, but I'm very much like my father, too. He takes risks, and he's still doing what he loves to do. So follow your joy, and it can take you 25 years later and beyond, because we're just getting started, by the way. Creating this record in Los Angeles, California, I popped up in a studio, and there was the legend himself, Teddy Riley. And I'm here like 18 years old. I'm like, what? Oh my goodness. He produced so many jams that, you know, I grew up dancing to and singing along to, so to be working with him. And he's definitely a tough musician, an amazing producer, very meticulous. And then we just popped up on the video set. I remember the night before, there was a choreographer named Jamie King. He's iconic. I learned the choreography the night before for Take Me There, and we filmed it the next day. Yeah, but it was fun. You're a big kid.
Yeah.
You know, when you pop into certain worlds, it's always surreal being on video sets, movie sets, etc. You get to play. I remember coming up to New York. I think my dad and I either drove or we took the train.
Yeah.
1998. It was the shortest session in my life that I've ever had. It was a hook, you know, a chorus. I hopped in. Wyclef was there. He said, okay, sing it a couple times down. And I did. And the session was done. And so they chose their favorite take. I guess when I left and they were having listening sessions, because at the time, by the way, I only had one single out, and that was All About Me with Cisco. I was the new girl on the block. And it wasn't until later on that I found out that there were some heavy hitters that sang that same hook. But ODB was the one that spoke up in listening sessions and meetings and said, who's that? That's the one right there, that's magic. But I was not established like everybody else, so he had some say and was very instrumental in them keeping me on the track. Yeah. You grow up pretty fast in this world and society, and then in front of lots of people. I was very mature, coming of age in front of the world, and I had a lot to say. But once again, being in that brother-like or family-like environment where they're watching over you and watching after you, you feel protected, you feel supported, and they were all about that. They're very talented themselves. They play, they write, they produce, they vocal produce, and it's just one of those places like a performing arts school where you can just go and be free, and they encourage that. So being in that environment, I got to flex a little bit and exercise songwriting and all of that. But that album was definitely a turning point for me because I was transitioning in my life, becoming a woman from a teenager. I just hit my 20s, you know. And they're very, very talented guys. Their process, they just vibe. They vibe out. A lot of improvisation, a lot of synergy. Tough musicians, they start on the guitar and bass or keys, you know. So you watch everything occur in front of your eyes. And it's a beautiful, magical experience. You know, I said, well, how do you guys look younger than you do in 1998? Because I was on that Smoke and Groove tour with them too. They stay on the road constantly, internationally. How do you take care of yourself? But it wasn't just Wyclef, it was his whole team. And they said, you're going through so many different portals in this life of entertainment. It's important to detox, it's important to cleanse. That's outside of music, but because they live a very, very busy life and always on the go and always in demand, different time zones, body clock is confused. He said detoxing is very important and making sure that we put foods of life into our body. But everybody in that camp that I saw in 98, this year, it was like they never left. I said, that's sound advice, so that's a reminder to me as well. The first day, we were all in LA when we laid our background vocals. Nobody wanted to go first. I just said, hey, I'm a background queen. I love stacking harmonies. That's the first thing I ever did with my advance. My advance. And what that is when you get your first check. I've always been pressed or excited to record harmonies. And so I was fearless. I went first and I laid the foundation of the chorus for Lady Marmalade. But it was very awkward, you know, being in the room for all of us at one time, not knowing what the process would be, what we were going to do that day. Are we singing our leads in front of everybody? You know, just trying to figure it out. But we were all good. You know, we've established our careers at that point. Still very young, but I volunteered, you know, and we got it done. So we recorded our leads separately, and the song was produced by Missy and Wilder initially, and then Ron Fair ended up executive producing it and adding live instrumentation, but also taking all the vocals and placing them where he wanted, including every last ad-lib. He composed the arrangement that you guys hear now. And then we're in rehearsals and on Grammy stages, and Miss Patii is coming through, and the legend herself is once again one of those surreal experiences. We were all, I think, taken aback when she walked into the rehearsal space. This is real. She's an icon. She's a true legend. She's been in this game and still trucking for a long time, seen a lot of things, change from technology to business models, but she's a prime example of what a real legend is. Like I said, I'm just getting started. But she's seen a lot more, you know? And she's our godmother. We can call her up for personal advice. I remember having those conversations with her when I was going through my own maybe battle. And she offers some sound advice because she's walked shoes that maybe your mom has not walked. The dynamics are different when you're in entertainment and, you know, getting criticized and crucified, etc. But, you know, you can still experience that as well as a human being on this earth. So Miss Patii is the truth, and we love her so much for just extending her wisdom. But one man that instilled a lot of wisdom and changed my outlook on business in general and preserving yourself, your spirituality, your sanity, and your pockets, and your art, protecting that, was Prince. And he offered a lot of amazing advice to the next generation because he cared. He's seen a lot, he's been through a lot, he's fought for a lot. And he's an amazing creative, a phenomenon, honestly. Over 17 instruments, composing everything himself. And he loves to do what he does, and he shows up and does it very well. But he's become an independent thinker, and he passed those gems in every conversation that he's had with artists like myself, Janelle Monáe, and we take all of that stuff with us. He knew that it would matter. Not just ownership, but protecting and preserving what you so love, which can often get tainted in a business, you know, that is just sometimes based on numbers, or charting, on budgets, or what other people define to be success. And it's very easy to give up and throw in the towel. Yeah. So he was laying down those gems and the foundation, that stonework, so that we could hold on to what's going to take us further on in life. And I'm still independent because of those conversations that he's had. Being with a major is beautiful. That was the start of my career. And I still believe in the majors and it being essential for an artist that wants to break through in a major way. And partnerships, you know, there's so many ways to conduct business, differently. But to think independently and apply that to your operation, no matter what it is you do as an entrepreneur, really preserves you in the long run, as long as you're willing to put in that work for years, because the return is not immediate. Either way you go, major or independent. But I'm very, very glad that I listened, because when someone like that experienced speaks, you listen and apply. And then you begin to see the shift on why they were speaking when you also experience the gems, but also the benefits that you reap along the way in every aspect: physical, mental, spiritual, financial, creatively. To go independent and stay independent for a lot of reasons. I loved where I was, major-wise. I love a budget opening up and being able to utilize that to gift my fans with music videos, etc. But I learned quickly what that looked like. You are the bank. You must watch every nickel, penny, dime that comes in and goes out. You are the business manager. Oftentimes you step into roles that you have no clue about, are not well versed in. You are the lawyer, you are the travel agent, the manager at times, the security, the driver, whatever you have to be to get to sometimes the bag, or doing what you love to do and why you showed up and signed up for it in the first place. Until you can cast team members that work at an independent rate, because it's not cheap. Check out Money Long's post from a couple of days ago.
I did see the
That's
breakdown.
just production. We're not talking about hotels, flights, per diems, wardrobe, hair, makeup. I am the makeup artist. I am the hairstylist. I am the seamstress sometimes. I am the choreographer. I'm the editor. I'm the engineer. Whatever I have to be to make this happen, because it's not just me this is for. It's my community. It's the example. It's my mother. It's my father. It's my brothers. My sisters. You know, and I've been given a chance to make a difference in other people's lives, but also change the scope of what my bloodline looks like. Generational wealth, gems, knowledge, passing down opportunities to those in my community, and worldwide. There's so much beauty that we can add to the world if we go hard, you know, and not throw in the towel, because it's very easy to. And then it becomes fun when you, I think, move with consistency. Yeah, take a break, but also be consistent. And like I said, life is beautiful, but it's not immediate when you see that return. And that applies to any business and profession. Mm-hmm.
Amen.
And I'm still working.
Yeah.
I'm still working every day. Lady Marmalade, she was there, of course. And so that's something that I'm still dreaming of, because I'm a big fan. I was always a fan. She's an icon. She's so creative. And just such a beautiful person inside and out. And she's a lot of fun as well. And she brings that to her art. So I still want to work with Missy Elliott, you know, hang out a little bit, be in the studio, kick around ideas, and really write something together, like a real collaboration. My love is like, whoa, was a demo that I was pitched. And initially, the lyrics that were there before, I said, two. So I remixed it a little bit and changed it to cater or fit Mya, cater to or fit Mya. But it was risque, you know, at that time for sure. And Missy can get away with that. So Tweet had some vocals on that record as well.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And two of my band members, Charlie Burrell, Kenny Burrell, initially produced that record as well musically. Mm-hmm. And Missy did the top line, Pin. But it's always a beauty to see her at events and see her celebrated as well. Yeah. She's a beast. Well, you don't always have a personal relationship with everyone. Sometimes you've never met.
Right.
But I think when you're operating in a space where you can reach out, and there's a level of synergy there, a vision that you have as far as sonics, maybe a fusion of cultures or sounds, you hear that specific person on a specific record, and you work up the bravery to reach out. You find them somehow on the DMs, Twitter, MySpace at the time, or sometimes when you're recording in studios, especially in Atlanta, where there are a lot of artists coming in and out of the same studios or working with the same producers, you might catch them out the door, walking in. So Nikki, I reached out to Nikki before she blew up. I was in the studio with Gucci Mane, and he was working on like 2 mixtapes at the time. And I asked him if he knew her, and he actually did. He said, yeah, she's coming to the studio very soon. And so I had this one record that I actually heard her on one of my mixtapes. And she popped up in the studio. I asked her, I played it for her, and maybe like 2 weeks later, it was done. So I heard her. I heard Sean Paul way back in 2003 on a record called Things Come and Go. I just reached out, and they were willing to make it happen. You know, and sometimes it doesn't always work like that because features are very, very expensive. So what we do oftentimes is do trades, bartering. You show up on their record, you know, or just something for one of their upcoming artists, and you get your feature in exchange. No charge.
I love it.
It's free. It's so freeing. It's very cultural. You know, it's right there. You can find it in every hood, every neighborhood, every country, city, state, sometimes county. They have their own lingo, accents, specific dance styles. One of the things that I love about traveling, first of all, to the Caribbean is because it's real, it's raw, it's not too materialistic. Simple life is enjoyed. It's about survival, but also celebration. And you feel it, you taste it in the food. You hear it in the rhythms. And I feel closer to my ancestors every time I go. There's sunshine, there's a sense of peace and less urgency. I mean, we're in New York City right now, you know? And also that sense of family that I so long for. It feels like home. So I love dance hall because it's very, very much what you make it, from the fashions to the improv involved, to the carefree nature of it. Sometimes it gets it gets very, very edgy. I mean, they go off. I'm talking about literally off of speakers into splits on concrete. But it's something to witness all over the world in cultures. But I have a lot of memories made because of Beanie Man in the Caribbean. Some fest until 8 in the morning, you know, year after year. And good times, good people, good vibes. Friends turn into family for life. I do a lot of recording, and in 2019, I did this show with my girl, Lil Kim, called Girls Cruise. And we were in the tropics, in the Caribbean, just cruising, sailing. And that was the vibe that I was on, of course. So I hit up my boy Dada, A&R, and he has an actual producer that he manages named DJ Hardwork, and we have like 35 songs that we cut out of Atlanta, but he's Jamaican. Both of them are actually Jamaican. And I told him what I needed, what I wanted. I said I need to bring some peace, some goodness, some fun, some carefree, beautiful, sexy vibes, sultry, and feminine vibes. So we made it. We made Whine in 2019, sonically. I went down to Jamaica, put a team together, guerrilla style. We shot that music video, location scouting, one of my choreographers, and a video director that I'd been working with on the independent side. They directed this video, and put together my own team of hair and makeup, and hit up the dance hall queens right there locally. Dance Jamaica, Latanya Style is one of the dance hall queens that coordinated casting. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. But that was just the solo version. There were a couple of people that I had in mind for a feature. But we had the solo version shot, and in 2021 I said, okay, I'm tired of sitting on this record. You know, the other features weren't right. One got locked up, and I mean...
Be like that.
Okay, so I said, we shot this in Jamaica. Why not just get someone from Jamaica on the record, which is what I pitched initially, but you know, you listen to other people and they have other things in mind, and that's fine, because I'm very open-minded. But I hit a bouncy in the DMs. Hey, this is after the verses with Beanie Man, right? One of my friends in Toronto, she's Jamaican. I said, I'm stuck here. I need to find the right feature for this record. So she mentioned it, and that's when I hit him up in the DMs, and within just a couple of days, it was done. And that's what you hear right now on Whine. And so we went back down to Jamaica in 2021 and inserted Bounty in the video. I had to find another wig to replicate the skirt, top, and it's like we never left. That fusion between R&B, sampling, 70s records that made 90s music, hip-hop and R&B what it is. I loved watching Bad Boy, and those records sound amazing and timeless to this day. Let me take it back. I got in trouble one day trying to be grown. One of my friends, Ariana, that lived in my neighborhood, she gave me LL Cool J's Bristol Hotel cassette tape. And I thought he was fine, you know. But I'm a kid, a little crushed. But my father found that tape and started listening to it. And he said, I think not. So I didn't necessarily understand what was actually being said lyrically. I just liked the beats, the rhythm. It was very aggressive. I love that about hip hop. I mean, there's so many. I don't really have one favorite moment. because it was a part of my childhood. And something about being a dancer, and then also a rhythm tap dancer, hoofer. That's what we would freestyle and improv to. Nothing but hip hop or reggae. And that's just what it was. So it was all of that. My first album that I bought on vinyl was Joski Love, Pee Wee Herman. I mean, it was, yeah, right? It was playing heavy in DC. Salt and Pepper was a big moment for me that brings back all the slumber parties that I would go to. And we would be dancing and reciting the words, express yourself. You know, you just sing and recite words that you hear and you repeat them, but you're also manifesting at the same time. You don't even know it. Yeah. So those are very empowering records, especially for females in hip hop. They were very, very vocal about it, even before TLC, and that was more pop. But I love having that example, Queen Latifah. Yeah. You know, I love the bars, the representation of the diaspora and the fashions. I remember that from my childhood. And I also remember being in New York City when I was about 13 years old and hearing hip hop on the stations. I had a Walkman, but it was like the heartbeat of a grind. But now as an adult, I understand where hip hop comes from. So that's why I pay homage to the very beginning and the birth of it, because where it comes from is being a rebel toward oppression, suppression, depression, and expressing your truth, and whatever that might look like. It's not always pretty. So having hip hop celebrated for the 50th year, I embrace that, I celebrate that, I honor that, because it's carried me through in ways that I didn't even know. As a dancer, as a thinker, as an independent thinker. And having those examples is very important as you grow into womanhood and manhood, to speak your truth, to follow your truth, to follow what you know is right, and to also fight for what is right. Well, I was here. I created those records here in New York. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the birthplace of hip hop.
I mean,
yeah? That's what I thought.
Take facts.
Facts. So, yeah. Part one, Swiss Beats. We were in the studio working together. Jimmy Cozier, also Jamaican, shout out to Ron Beal, one of my good friends. We all got together and we were just vibing and talking. I said, this is what this feels like. I came up with the concept, and it was about temptation and fighting that temptation, because you know you're bound to hit or interact with something that's calling you, but you know might not be good for you. And you have to resist that with all your might. So I was seeing a different type of video in my mind. I said, nah, that's too serious, but it was learning how to say no to what's happening to your body as you're coming of age, but also picking up on game and that slick talk in these streets out here when it comes to courtship, being courted. But you know, your body knows, your mind knows, your spirit knows when something's not good for you. Food, put that cake down, Mya. You know, men, women, who you date. So it's the voice. One voice over here and that one voice over here reminding you, I know this type and I know what that looks like. So let me walk away. That was the concept behind writing the record. And it was just a fly hip hop video, you know, that people, the club goers my age, could relate to. And Jada, of course, the beast he is, top 5. Bless the record with his bars. And I love performing this record to this day because it's so relatable. A lot of fans hit me up. Women specifically, you know, you saved me from giving myself away because of that record. You made me, you helped me navigate.
Look at you doing God's work.
No, that was her choice. But I like to hear stories like that when you're thinking of things in the studio and you just think, oh, another record. No, you actually have a chance to make a difference in a minor way or a major way in somebody's life. So I'm glad that we finally got to manifest it. Yeah, Jada went hard, and people constantly ask me, which one is my favorite?
I don't want to put you on the spot.
Number 2. Let's go to number 2 now before I answer that question. Okay, so Trackmasters. I got in the studio, we recorded that at a studio here, somewhere in New York. I can't remember which one. And Makeda Davis was a co-writer on that. And she laid the foundation and groundwork on that melody. But the concept was obviously taken from the original. So she and I were recording in the studio together. And then the feature came later from JC. And they played it. They were like, let's shoot the video. When are you guys both going to be in LA? We shot that in Malibu, 6 hours total. And it belongs to the Backstage album. DJ Clue, I just saw him like a week and a half ago at Howard Homecoming's kickoff in DC. He stopped through an event I was doing. So, great connect. And which one is my favorite? So, in the clubs, both records go hard, but the remix, of course, is something that I perform for the crowds that want to party. Live band, that original, because it has like a bossa nova type of rhythm to it, the syncopation. That's the one for the live band. So the more theater-based shows and the musicianship, like each and every one of you guys, trying to get through life one day at a time, and choosing the positive in everything. I want to offer people with beauty, healing, direction on how to, and that is many things, like we spoke about earlier, preserving your mind, some of the things that I practice. And there's another level that I have tapped into, because the beginning of my career was getting acclimated, learning, absorbing. It's an education, and I look at it very much like grade school, preschool to grade school, to junior high, to high school, to college, and there's levels to that too. And then you're ready to go out into the world, seasoned, to offer the best of you. And I know that that is on the way. I've been working very, very hard. I have several projects done, mixed, mastered, paid for, owned, self-owned. And I'm so excited for the evolution. A lot of you all grew up with me. We've experienced this world together, this life together, and life can be so beautiful. And we all have hardships and pitfalls and challenges every day, you know, but life is obviously the greatest blessing. So every waking day we have a chance to make it better for ourselves, but also for others. And I think that's everybody's purpose. There's a way to navigate, and it's different for all of us. But when I say I've tapped into something very special, I mean that. I've cried listening to some of the upcoming music. I've healed old wounds, and I can't wait to share the fun and the joy of being whole and learning and holding on and just continuing to exercise my freedom through art and making the world a colorful place. Just like each and every one of you. You all have a gift. We all have gifts. When we get out of the survival mode, it's up to us to tap in and craft that time out of our schedules. And that makes life worth living, you know? And it's never a dull moment, I can tell you that. But keep going. Step outside. Step inside. Cut your phone off. Tap into you. and get with your program. It looks different for everybody else. There's no timeline. And you can also just be as you are, because just that alone is success. Not anybody else's roadmap and you having to do anything else other than just being you. Okay? So that's not what I'm trying to enforce here agendas and your gift, but you are the gift. Okay, so remember that too. Life is good. Yeah, I'm grateful for this conversation, but I can guarantee you there's so much more and it's amazing on the way. And that's what I've been working towards. But also, I'm not dissing everybody. I listen to trap music in the gym. I'm not listening to it on Sunday morning, so, you know, I have a choice. I have a choice to craft my Caribbean playlist, my country playlist. Music is music. And it's what you make it, where you make it, and that's on you. So I embrace everything. You know, I'm praying, I'm twerking too. I'm listening to gospel. I'm all of those things. And I don't think anybody is one-dimensional. We got Spotify. We got Apple. We got so many platforms where we can find whatever we want to. There's no diss for me to the generation that's here today. They're on their own wave, having fun, doing what they're supposed to be doing in their early 20s and 17-year-olds, making beats on their iPhones, recording on an app on iPhone and putting it out. Content. You never know how it's going to take off for you. There's no traditional anymore. The world is yours at your fingertips. Take advantage of it. I'm not an old head, even though I just turned 44.